What's up, everyone? Welcome into Around the Felt, episode 48, our wild card weekend recap. I am your host, Colin Tong, with Reagan Loescher, whose bracket is busted after the first weekend. You had Cleveland over Philly, my friend. What happened there?
I actually received the wrong copy of the script. I don't know, man. It just tells you at this point to not be different than other people. You know, you just got to fit into the societal norm. Go shop with your bracket, and you'll probably be all right. I should have just gone 49ers beating the Bills or something chalky like that.
Well, I have Niners, Bills. Bills are still alive. Niners are still alive.
You do? Okay.
You know, if you want to talk about this weekend, you went 2-4 money line. I went 4-2. You went 3-3 against the spread. I went 5-1. The only cover I did not have was Pittsburgh with the 10, unfortunately.
Well, I did, in fact, say the 49ers and Ravens would advance, so I think that will add 2-0 to the money line and 2-0 to the spread extra. But yeah, okay, an average weekend on the spread and maybe a rough weekend for the money line. But you know what? I don't care, okay? At the end of the day, the wheel cashed not once, but twice.
Kareem Hunt plus 1,100. And then Dawson Knox plus 2,300. Thank God I put Dawson Knox in that wheel.
Yes, sir.
Instead of playoff Lenny.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
That's right, because when you wanted playoff Lenny, I was like, no, Knox is already on there. We're going with Knox. And it landed on Knox. And you were like, I swear if it's playoff Lenny, I'm going to be pissed.
And in fairness, I would have been pissed. But you know what? You're darn good, boy.
That's what we do here. And I believe we cast wheels.
I believe you just lost your wheel virginity, the first spin you
ever
hit.
Yeah, I just lost my wheel virginity. That's the first one I've hit. A plus 2,300 cash, I don't mind it. The wheel is up. We don't know the exact math, but
I'd say roughly 80 something.
Roughly 80 units.
Yeah, it's
definitely at least 70.
Well, I mean, just on this weekend alone, we went up 30 units, so that helps.
Absurd.
Plus 23 from Knox, plus 11 from Hunt, and take out the 4 from the we missed. 30 units right there.
Good math. Go Red Hawks, baby.
Call me the human calculator. Which Red Hawks are we talking about? Because we do have Big Bro, Jared Tong here.
Yeah, Jay's here for his first pod. I'm rocking the hat to represent Miami of Ohio, the real Red Hawks. Go Red Hawks. A couple of Red Hawk brothers over here. You're the little Hawk, though. That's the big Hawk.
Actually, all Red Hawks stick together. Am I right? Can I get a caca?
Caca!
Caca! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you got? Let's hear your lion roar.
No, I'm not going to get a lion roar,
You're probably
you
like...
always put me on the spot.
Yeah, you're probably like...
Give a good line.
You definitely are like zesty. You're like, rawr. Let's hear what you got, huh? Yeah, I knew you'd be zesty.
All right, Reagan. A lot of news coming out of Wild Card Weekend. First and foremost, Eagles center Jason Kelce retires after 13 seasons. I believe he was a 7-time first-team All-Pro.
6-time first-team, 2-time second-team. I was looking today.
Very impressive.
I mean, you would have to imagine first-ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, for a center to dominate.
If that's not a first-ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, just domination at the center position throughout his career. I mean,
and he got better with time.
And the craziest thing is that's a 6th-round pick. So, I mean, the Eagles obviously are known for developing linemen late, but I mean, a lot of teams would kill to develop a lineman like that.
Giants and Jets, take notes.
Yeah, let alone drafting someone in the 6th round. I mean, a lot of these teams can't even get a first-round lineman to pan out. But I guess that's another thing that speaks for the center position and why you don't see him going in the first, because there's so many that can develop, and a lot of guards can obviously move over, because last year we didn't see any first-round centers, and the year before that we only saw Linderbaum in the first round. So
yeah, and Linderbaum's a stud. So if you're going to be a center picked in the first round,
you got to be a stud.
Linderbaum's a Pro Bowler.
I guess that does kind of speak to the position itself, but crazy career.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, congrats Jason Kelce. Hell of a career, man. I mean, he retires on top, personally wise, because he was a first-team All-Pro. Yeah. Granted, they didn't win the Super Bowl this year, but hell of a career. Thank God. He's no longer in the NFC East.
Yeah, I know. That's nice. Not only did Giants fans get to see those two teams between the Cowboys and Eagles
lose, it was a good weekend.
You know, Eagles lose a very good key piece to their team. But I do wonder if the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, does he even play this year? Probably not, right?
Probably not, Reagan. That's a good question. You know,
crazy
and now
hypothetical. I think we could spend a whole podcast debating that one.
We could now, and now his podcast is blowing up with Trav, so. Yeah. He's got a lot of stuff to do off the field. Perhaps he will work for a network.
Yeah,
pre-game. In the booth.
That does hurt us. So I kind of wish he wasn't retiring. It does hurt us.
It does. Yeah. That's a competitor.
Spend on his podcast. So
New Heights show.
It does kind of hurt our podcast a lot, because obviously, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. We're not going to even name the podcast. We don't promote other podcasts on here.
Yeah, we don't. It'll be interesting to see if any other old Eagles, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, decide to call it quits.
Yeah, you never know.
Mike Tomlin tells the Steelers he plans on coaching the team in 2024. This is after he walked out of the press conference when a reporter asked him she said, your contract's up after 2024, and he walked right out. So people were speculating. There's been rumors that he might take a year off. Maybe
I think he probably walked out, in fairness, because, they just lost. And
he doesn't want to talk about it.
He's not thinking about next year. He's only thinking about right now in the moment, and then in that moment, they lost a playoff game.
Yes, so not a good time to ask.
And that's why he's a player's coach. I'm sure the players love that, seeing that. So
yeah, so it looks like Mike T will be back for at least another year in Pittsburgh. Christian McCaffrey was a full participant in practice. Huge for the Niners, considering that calf injury. If he's limited.
Wait, you think that's huge? Do you mind? That's a hot
not
take.
A hot take. Not a hot
That's
take.
Spicy.
But the fact that he's a full participant and not limited shows that time off that he got with the bye week and setting week 18 really helped heal that calf up.
Yeah, about 3 weeks of rest helps.
Yeah, I don't know. Calves just sketch me out, considering the Achilles is right there as well.
Yeah,
so
obviously it's a concern, but definitely resting for that extended
Niners
amount of...
fully healthy right now. Hopefully they don't lose their quarterback this year.
Yeah, well...
The Saints fired their offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael after 15 seasons. He was the longest tenured OC in the league by 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought his high-powered offense, I don't think anyone figured out the red zone better than he did. I loved seeing the Taysom Hill on the first red zone play every time, and then a couple Kamara stuffs, and hey, we got Blake Groupie who comes out and misses a kick.
Yeah, great offense. Writing was on the wall there.
I will say they did turn it on at the end of the year, but I don't know. That also said I wouldn't be shocked if Dennis Allen's also fired, but I think at this point, since he hasn't been, I think he's safe for now.
Yeah, because he's the one that fired Carmichael, so I'd imagine he's safe going into next season.
Yeah.
However, if the Saints don't make the playoffs again, Dennis Allen certainly will be in the hot seat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Because then you're going to get a new guy, and then Carr will be out as well, and they'll go get a new GM, new coach, and get their rookie quarterback.
Yep.
Shador, same colors. You never know.
Never know.
We will see. 2025. Be ready.
That's a hot take, Reagan.
Dolphins
GM Chris Greer states the goal is to have Tua in Miami long term. This was expected, Reagan. However, if you were the GM of the Dolphins, would you trust Tua enough to give him a fat long-term extension?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Dude, the quarterback position's so hard to find. Tua's definitely legit. Don't get me wrong, you would have liked to see more from him, but the defense had so many injuries, It's not like this. There were other reasons. It's not all to blame on Tua, so I would definitely extend him. He's shown a lot. And, at the end of the day, what are their other options right now? They're a win-now team. They don't have time to wait for a rookie quarterback to develop, and there's no quarterback on the market that's going to be better than Tua. So, yeah, I'm giving him the contract 100%.
Yeah, I agree. You got to give him the deal. Tua just falls in that basket for me that you could win with him, not, because of him. Yeah. Because we saw that when Tyreek was hurt, offense struggled entirely, and that's even with Mostert in that high-powered run game.
I do think Tua's good though. I don't know. I would give him the contract.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna ask for this, but I don't think he's gonna get in that top 5. Maybe he will, just because the market will continue to drive up.
Yeah, he'll definitely ask for it.
But he won't be. He won't be paid more than Mahomes. I don't think. More than. Do you think he'll get paid more than Lamar? I doubt it.
It's hard to say.
Dolphins would be like, do you have an MVP under your belt? No.
It's hard to say. I think he'll ask for it because you gotta start high, but we'll see. Definitely be interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets it.
Bill Belichick had his first interview this cycle with the Atlanta Falcons. Reagan, is this a good fit for Bill? Do you think it's all smoke? Do you think he's genuinely interested in Atlanta?
I think he's probably interested in every situation. I think he's going to take as many, all the interviews and see where he gets the biggest and best, most control. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if the Falcons want to give him the keys and let him be a GM too, he might take it. If another team's like, yeah, you're only our coach, we're giving you a small-term deal. But if the Falcons are like, hey, we'll give you a big contract, a lot of money, you could be our GM too, we're giving you the keys, then yeah, we'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely know what you mean. Each situation has its pros and cons, right? Bill was just the GM and the head coach. That's a good point you brought up, because I know Arthur Blank will definitely be like, all right, Bill, you can control personnel and you can coach. Take the keys, because he wants to win now. But we just saw Bill without a legit quarterback for a couple years in New England, and how did that pan out?
Yeah, but the
Falcons defense will be good.
Better weapons, and the defense is already good. I think they'll figure it out.
They need a quarterback.
Yeah, they need a quarterback, which they can get. They're
pick number 8.
Or you never know.
Justin Fields potentially.
Fields. They could go Jameis. I mean, there are a couple options.
You think
out
Bill
there.
Belichick, who preaches ball security and playing defense, wants Jameis?
I just meant more so like the Falcons could go Jameis, even if it's not Bill Belichick there. Like this team obviously needs a quarterback regardless of who they go out to get the coach. The quarterback is an issue.
Yes. Now, a lot of people are speculating Belichick could go to Dallas if they fire McCarthy.
Yeah.
The fact that you brought up that GM situation.
Yeah.
Because Jerry Jones seems to hold that near and dear to his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be willing to relinquish some of that power to Belichick?
It would be Belichick would be the one.
The only guy I could see it happening with, but also it's Jerry Jones. Does Bill Belichick want to work with Jerry? Also, Bill Belichick is at the stage of his career where he probably only has a good 3 years in him, I'd say. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
So does a team like Atlanta
appeal to him? There's a lot of hypotheticals with it. Well, hey, I mean, we probably won't find out till after the Super Bowl, I would imagine. I would be shocked if we figure out soon, but it's definitely interesting. Well, I mean, where do you... I mean, honestly, I could see him taking any of the positions at the end of the day because it's whoever gives him the most power. I will say, though, as a dynasty owner, people probably don't want him going there because I feel like it's a lateral move for those guys. Like, do you really expect Bijan and London and... I mean, maybe more so Bijan, but, like, London and Pitts, like, probably not good for them if they're drafting a quarterback. Like, you can't expect it to be a high-powered offense. It's going to be more of a, like, game management type run-first offense like we just saw.
Yeah, I think if Bill goes there, it bodes well for Bijan because he will feed Bijan.
But also, like we've seen Bill use multiple
aspects. Yeah.
Most of the offenses Bill's had with the Patriots had multiple running backs featured.
And multiple tight ends.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So it's definitely interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily an upgrade for any of those guys if Belichick goes there versus a more offensive, put up point. Like if a Kellen Moore type went there, obviously he's not good. I don't think he's going to be considered for a head coaching job, but you know what I mean?
Do you think if Belichick was the head coach of Atlanta this year, they would have beat the Bucs for the division? Or do you think they still would have finished where they did?
Hard to say. No, I don't think it would have been much different because I think at the end of the day, the offense still would have been pretty stagnant. Like the defense may have been better, but I don't know.
The offense was their problem.
They definitely would have been more in the conversation.
All right, that wraps up the news, folks. Joe, what do we got for questions?
All right, let's start us off with Jared Crampton.
What up, Crampy?
Barry Bear.
I saw a well-respected football-minded tweet. Jalen Hurts is only good when he is getting his back blown out. I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on this.
Okay. I was going to say, where's the question, Jared?
You talking about a tush push? What are we talking here?
Well, I know this very respected guy is, I'd say he's probably one of the top Twitter guys I follow. I think the guy's name is Run the Damn Football is his handle. I mean...
He knows Jared.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I don't know, man. I mean, after watching the game last night, like, Hurts could have played better, but that defense of Philly is just garbage. I mean, Baker Mayfield was just lighting them up.
Bake!
And not even that, the amount of missed tackles. I mean, that David Moore touchdown... Like, what are they doing? And then there
Bradbury looked terrible. He didn't tackle anybody.
On the first drive, White gets a catch, and Bradbury just goes up high to tackle him, gets stood up, and then Maddox comes in, way overcommits, and then White picks up the first down. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, it's almost like Philly forgot how to tackle. So this team has a lot of issues. I still have confidence in Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think it's a lot of recency bias. Like last year, I was super high on him, and now after this year, am I going to be out on him? No, I'm not out on him at all, but... it's one of those things where everyone's out on Trevor Lawrence now, but last year, at this time, he's coming off of a big comeback win against the Chargers. So I think it's one of those yearly things where some guys will have better years. Like, think about it. We were all out on Lamar last year, and then this year he's the MVP, and we're like...
I wouldn't say all of us.
Well, were you still saying he's, like, top 3? Top 5?
He predicted him to win the MVP.
For me, he was in that...
You said coming into this year.
He was in that 5 to 7 range.
He was in that 5 to 7 range,
yes.
And you even said with the MVP, like, this is a hot take. Like, you knew coming in, you weren't...
He was like 7th in odds.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, you weren't like coming in and being like, I still think this guy is the top quarterback. You liked the odds, you liked the situation, and you saw something where it was good value and could happen.
Yes.
But that's what I mean. Everyone was kind of out on Lamar, and now we're all back in on him. So it's one of those things that every year it seems to change and the narrative shifts.
Yeah, I mean, the book's out on Jalen Hurts on how to beat him. You blitz him. Look at last night. What happened? Or 2 nights ago, sorry. They blitzed it was last night. They blitzed the fuck out of him. Now, schematically, it didn't make sense how they couldn't pick up on that. That Tampa had free runners
No.
all night. How do you not pick up on that? It's an experienced offensive line. Why do you not have a back in to help protect Jalen Hurts?
None of it made sense.
Or scheming up something different, you know?
Where was the run game? Swift had 4 carries for 19 yards.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why did they just give up?
And I think ran the ball only once too.
Yeah.
You could tell he's hurt. Though.
What? Swift gets 2 carries on the first drive, looks great, and then how did he get 2 carries the rest of the game? It doesn't make
sense.
sense.
He's a free agent too, and if that's how they're using him, he's going to leave also. So.
Oh, he's 100% going to leave. But it's like in the beginning of the year, like I don't know if you guys remember against Minnesota, Swift went for like 180 or some shit, and they were running the ball down their throat. Like,
he killed Tampa Bay too. That game in Tampa Bay early on in the season, he ran for like almost 200 yards that game.
So my whole thing is they just have given up on the run, and they're like almost trying to force Jalen Hurts into be this like crazy pocket passer where it's like he's a lot better when you open up the run and the play action and the RPOs. And the RPOs has been suffering a lot, but I feel like that's also half because they just give up on the run so early.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up on Jalen Hurts either. The dude's a grinder. He's going to watch tape. He's going to realize that teams are starting to prep for him, and they know how to get to him, and that's by blitzing him and with man coverage. So he's going to clean it up. He's going to be fine. Also, we could tell all season he didn't look healthy, particularly with the knee, right? He kind of pushed it under the rug, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come out in the next couple weeks and say he got surgery to clean something up. Because the run game wasn't there like it was last year. So I'd expect that he's going to be healthier next season. Eagles will be fine. They'll rebound. Even without Kelsey, they still have a great offensive line, 2 wide receiver ones. They're going to be all right.
And, I mean, that's a big part of his game at the end of the day. I mean, you take, like, a lot of these top-tier quarterbacks, you take away their mobility. I mean, they're not going to be nearly as successful. Imagine if you had Lamar if Lamar had that this year, or Josh Allen, or Mahomes.
Absolutely, man.
Guys who rely on scrambling and making those off-scheduled plays. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But I do think there's big changes, not only with his health coming, but potentially at the head coach, maybe. But
head coach, probably the DC for sure.
DC
maybe,
and OC.
Maybe the OC might not be there.
They're going to have a completely different playbook going into next season.
Will that tush push work without Jason Kelsey? To be determined. All right,
I'd
Joe.
say so still, because I think he's still going to be able to squat like
600
whatever
pounds.
the hell he squats.
And
But yeah,
healthy.
List your top 5 dynasty quarterbacks right now.
I feel like
top 5 dynasty quarterbacks.
I feel like Stroud's got to be one, just purely off the age. I mean,
oh, you can't go Stroud 1, man. Josh Allen's 1.
Josh
Allen still has 10 more years left, dude.
Yeah,
it's not like he's Aaron Rodgers.
I know, but at what point does the mobility go away? You know what I mean? Like,
dude, he's 6'5". Josh Allen is going to be mobile for a while.
But we saw
Stroud
that with
can't be one.
But my whole thing is we saw that with Big Ben for a while, and then when his mobility went away, it was just strictly as a pocket passer. You really would go Josh Allen 1 in Dynasty? I mean, it's just like Stroud's so much younger.
Look at like a mobile quarterback though.
Yeah, but
look at Josh Allen's history. QB 1, 2, 1, 1, 8 in the past 5 years.
No, I'm not discrediting how good he is. Like, he's still
27.
top 5.
He's 27.
Yeah, but what's Stroud? 21, 22?
22.
Yeah. So, I don't know. You're probably right. I'm probably maybe putting a little too much.
It's 1 year. It's 1 year. Don't get me wrong. CJ Stroud's definitely up there given his age.
But, I mean, you could say
rushing upside.
You could say Hurts too, because
for Allen.
Hurts was the number 1 quarterback last year.
You could go Hurts. Absolutely. Hurts should be in the top 5.
You could go Lamar.
Lamar should be in the top 5. Mahomes got to be in the top 5.
Mahomes
is in the top 5, bro. Come on.
I'm so pissed.
Stop.
Dude, this last year.
Mahomes is in the top 5.
Look what he did this year, bro. Like, look what he did this year.
Yeah, but his team also led the league in drops.
He didn't have weapons this year. You give him some
still, bro.
Mahomes since 2018, 1-7-4-4-1-8.
Yeah, but this year he pissed me off so much.
I understand he pissed you off, but like
I'm being so biased. I don't know. Okay, so
Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Lamar.
Who's your 5th?
Who's your 5th? I mean,
I'm putting Stroud in because I think there's more.
Herbert.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like
Stroud.
There's so many guys you could say. That's what I'm saying. It's not like Mahomes is a lock to be in there, is he?
Yes, Mahomes is top 5, bro. You can't kick out Mahomes for one bad year for his standards. Still QB 8, in which they led the league in drops. They have terrible wide receivers. It's Patrick Mahomes.
But my whole thing is like
you're not putting CJ Stroud over Mahomes after one season.
Well, it's dynasty. I'm not saying redraft. And also, what's to say? Like, when is it going to get better? Like, he's not going to magically get good weapons next year.
What do you mean, bro? They could easily
where are the weapons coming in?
Weapons next year. They're gonna keep investing in that in the draft.
How's it been working? How's it been working?
Rashi Rice hit.
Yeah, Rashi Rice.
Still, like, how many more years does he have of Kelsey? And then it's just Rice.
Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields are all in that conversation.
There's a lot of guys. That's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of guys.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like for me, like you're saying it's like a locked and loaded, but like there's definitely a debate. Top 5 is tough. It's a lot tougher than you think.
I think those 4 are definitely in, and then you got Herbert, Burrow, Stroud. That's kind of like for 5 for me right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to give the nod to... shit, man. It's tough. I'm between Herbert and Burrow, just because they've done it longer than Stroud, but Stroud's right there for me.
Yeah.
I'm torn between the 2. Pick your poison.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, Hurts and Allen, 100%. I would say Jackson, because I favor the rushing upside more. I guess I still got it.
Well, Richardson's up there just because he was so good for a couple games, and he's 21 years old.
Such a small sample size.
Small sample size.
If the sample size
but
was
the rushing
bigger,
is
yes,
legit.
the rushing's there, but
he could be the number 1 rushing quarterback next year. Like he could be.
Yeah, no, he could. So, but it would be crazy to say top 5 for him just because the sample size is way too small.
You can't.
And I don't know. It's definitely so freaking interesting. And it's like also then it comes in as like, how much do you really believe in Caleb Williams? Like, are you ready to already put him up in there?
No, dude, you can't with the quality of quarterbacks right now, and given that the oldest one that we've mentioned so far is 28 years old, they all still have a long time to go.
Yeah, it's definitely that's a good question, Jared, because it's a lot. But once we started diving into it, it's a lot more than you think. Yeah, it really is a good debate.
Yeah, when you take the age in consideration, like.
Who is a sneaky Super Bowl MVP pick at this moment?
Sneaky you'd have Super Bowl MVP.
You would probably have to look at teams that would be sneaky to win it, because like
you can't. Yeah, because anyone in the Niners, like you're like, all right, it's probably going to be McCaffrey if they win
McCaffrey
it,
or Purdy. They're not sneaky.
They're not sneaky
unless like Kittle or Debo or Ayuk take over. And I mean, Ayuk would be sneaky.
Jordan Love. I mean, yeah. I could say like if the Ravens were to win it, Roquan Smith, if he had a phenomenal game, a defensive player to win Super Bowl MVP.
Had that phenomenal game, and it just seems like they always go offensive based.
I know, which is why a defensive guy would be sneaky.
Because I think the last time was he was the last one to do it.
Von Miller was the healthy.
Last one I think
Von Miller ain't doing shit this year.
I'm blanking out on his name. He was on Seattle. It wasn't KJ Wright. It was one of their linebackers, and he ended up going to the Raiders right after. Who?
Oh no.
It wasn't Wagner. No, it was Malcolm Smith. I want to say.
Yes.
Malcolm Smith back in 2014 or whatever. Whenever the last time they won was.
Won earlier than that.
He did win an MVP?
Miller won it.
No,
Miller
did.
Miller got it for Super Bowl 50, right?
Yeah, so Miller won it, Smith won it, so we haven't seen a ton as of recent.
That Seahawks Super Bowl was like much earlier though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We haven't seen a ton of defensive MVPs over the past couple of years, but yeah, I agree. Roquan's pretty sneaky. I mean, at this point, do we really think the Texans, Packers, Lions? I mean, like
Nick Bosa.
Yeah, Bosa would be sneaky.
I mean, it's just tough because you figured if the Niners win it, it's going to be an offensive guy.
Anybody outside of Josh Allen
if the Bills, I was going to say, if the Bills win it.
If Matt Milano was playing, I would say Matt Milano would be sneaky, but he's not healthy.
Von Miller again.
Yeah.
No, Von Miller's been bad this year, dude. That
is a good one, Jared.
That's a tough one because you got to consider teams. Like, we don't see the Packers getting there. I mean, I don't see the Lions getting there.
I mean, you could say Chris Jones on Kansas City if he just completely takes over if the Chiefs make it on the defensive side.
Yeah.
And it's like an ugly game where the offense doesn't do a ton and it's just all defense. I can't really see like the Bucs, Packers, or I really can't see Bucs, Packers, Lions,
Houston
making it.
Yeah, it's tough.
To be honest,
it's
tough to say. Like, but obviously, like Love, Stroud, like Mayfield, their odds are juicy. So, I mean,
Baker Super Bowl MVP.
I would say like,
I'd be
if you really think those teams can win it, like. Get a little better odds by taking one of those to win the MVP. You could probably add another plus 1,000 to your bet.
Honestly, instead of just taking like one of those teams that are crazy, you might as well just take their quarterback because if they're gonna get there, it's probably gonna be because of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next we got Austin
Bear in the house in the flesh.
Which team had the best performance during Wild Card Weekend?
I mean, I think it's got to be the Packers, right?
Well, that's the question: Packers or Texans?
Packers.
Or Tampa Bay.
I'd say the Packers because they were on the road when they did it. These other two teams did it at home, and the spreads they were like slight underdogs, where the Packers came in as like 7.5-point underdogs into Dallas, who didn't lose a single game at home. So yeah, I'd say the Packers is an easy choice there.
At home.
I mean, I'd go Packers as well.
Like you can give the Texans and Bucks credit, but at the end of the day, like the Packers were the 7th seed going against the 2, not the 4 at home hosting the 5.
Yeah, and the fact the Cowboys won 16 in a row at home before that, and they didn't just beat them. They kicked their ass.
Yeah,
and Jordan Love showed the whole world that, okay, this past 2 months of the season was not a fluke. Like, he's legit, man.
And I would say on paper, the Packers are probably the worst roster on paper out of the 3.
Definitely the most inexperienced. Youngest team in the league.
What do you guys think about Jason Kelce retiring? Is he the greatest of all time at his position?
Say, yeah. I mean,
certainly up there. I mean,
six-time first-team All-Pro, first ballot Hall of Famer, like we said before. I mean, it sucks to see him go, but I'm sure Colin, as a Giants fan, is
pumped. Let's go.
It's like
enjoy retirement, Jason.
Give him his flowers and help him to the door.
Also, was an integral part of that Super Bowl winning team for Philly, the only one in franchise history.
Yeah,
got to take that in consideration as well.
Mm-hmm. Will Jim Harbaugh be a Charger next year?
Yeah, Harbaugh had his interview with the Chargers, I believe, or it's scheduled for today, maybe today.
I believe I believe it's today.
But Harbaugh, similar to Belichick, he's almost interviewing the team as much as they're interviewing him, because reports came out today that Harbaugh got offered an extension by Michigan that pays him $11.5 million a year, and they cannot fire him for anything that comes out about these investigations, which is a weird clause that he wanted in there. So he wants that security.
Oh. I mean, that could mean there's more going on, or it could just be the society we live in now where the media is going to skew it and push whatever narrative they want. And I think he sees at this point that the media is clearly against this guy. I mean, the facts haven't fully come out, and I don't know if we will actually ever know all the facts, because it seems like when any of these big stories break, you're never getting the full truth.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily blame him, because they're going to skew it whichever way they want, and it seems like at this point, like, the media does not like him and wants him gone.
It seems like Harbaugh wants to win a Super Bowl. All this talk of going to the NFL after every season, Chargers would be a great fit for him, considering Justin Herbert's already in place.
Well, and also his brother has one, and who did his brother get one against?
Jim.
Yeah, so definitely. But, I mean, hey, at least he could say he's got the national championship done. But he could go, and he also is in a window where, like, he could win a couple championships in a row.
He could,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean? Like, he could go on a run and go down as one of the best college coaches too, so definitely a big decision.
Also, J.J. McCarthy going to the draft. Does he have faith in the next quarterback to step in and lead him to another title?
Yeah.
He could be like, all right, my quarterback's gone. Let me go to the league. Even if he doesn't take the Chargers job, if he goes somewhere else, could he target McCarthy for a team that necessarily doesn't have a quarterback?
And NCAA football, we didn't even talk about that before. How about that being announced?
Yeah, it was July 12th?
Yeah.
Something like that,
Mark your calendars.
Yeah, can't wait for some mascot matchup. Best game mode out there.
All right, next we got Mike.
What up, Mike?
Mike. Which Mike?
Just Mike.
There's no email?
Siwak?
C-Wack. That's my boy C-Wack. What's up, Wack?
Whack-a-mole. What's up?
Okay, if the Eagles fire Sirianni, who is the best replacement that will keep them in the playoff contention?
Oh, shit.
Okay, so a lot of people are going to say Belichick. How about Mike Vrabel, man? Mike Vrabel has...
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he'd fit in well with Philly culture, considering that his teams are always tough, and they play everyone close, and they hit. You know what I mean? They're very physical.
They do. It does seem like he would always have his team fired up when they're the underdogs. Like, it seemed like whenever they were underdogs in big games, they usually won.
Yes, absolutely. Now, him with Philly culture, I think, would mesh really well, considering what they have in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Bring Derrick Henry with them, too.
Oh, yeah. Bring Derrick Henry to Philly with Mike Vrabel. That is the best fit. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they keep Sirianni, but I do like that one as well. Another name to throw out. I mean, I really just can't see Belichick. I'd be shocked. I feel like he doesn't fit the culture where, like, I feel like Philly almost doesn't deserve him because they'd turn on him too quickly if things didn't go right. What about Harbaugh? Like,
I don't know. There hasn't been any talks of Harbaugh.
I think a big reason is because Philly just lost. Recently has been talks of Sirianni being gone. I mean, a couple weeks ago they were like, they'll figure it out. They didn't figure it out. Now all these talks are coming up. I still don't think they fire Sirianni. I think it would be a foolish move because at the end of the day, if you told me, hey, your team's going to go to the Super Bowl, or what has he been there 3 years now?
Yeah, they've been in the playoffs all 3 years.
We're going to bring in a coach. He's going to get you into the playoffs 3 years in a row. You're going to lose into the Super Bowl one of those years, and then the next year it's going to fall apart. But I just don't know how you fire the guy when he's gotten you that far. Like,
it's happened before. John Elway fired John Fox after they reached the Super Bowl and got blown out.
Yeah.
So by Seattle.
It just, and also like it's the same ownership group that let Andy Reid stick around for a long time. How many Super Bowls did Andy Reid get? 0. You know what I mean? So he was around for a while and he got no Super Bowls. And also, Doug Peterson got a Super Bowl and was fired pretty shortly after too. So we've seen both ends of the spectrum here. So
yes. The only way that you fire Sirianni is if ownership inside the building can see that he's lost the team and he lost the locker room. Which the way they fell apart towards the end of the season, losing 6 of the last 7, with the talent on their roster, screams he lost the locker room. And if you don't think that he can get it back heading into next year, and next year's going to be more of what you saw the back half of this season, then you make the move. But based purely on what he's done, like their record with him, the fact they got to the Super Bowl, 3 playoff appearances, it'd be odd to fire him.
Yeah,
it's only something we don't know that. We're not in the building.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, exactly. We don't know what the locker room is, and we do know that the media likes to skew it any way they want. And I will say I do think that they can fix things because they still do have a very talented roster. So I fully expect this team to be in the playoffs next year, regardless of who the coach is.
Is Nico Collins the wide receiver 1 in Houston?
I mean, him and Tank Dell were just trading weeks back to back, like both popping off. There were even games when they both popped off.
And there were games where they both popped off without the other one there. So I would say I lean Nico.
I'd say it's 1A, 1B, man. Like with CJ Stroud, they're both going to be really good next year.
And I more so lean Nico just because he's more of a stereo, like fits the mold more body type and size of a wide receiver 1 because Tank Dell's a much smaller guy.
Yeah, so Tank Dell plays in the slot.
I will say like it's hard for me to consider a slot receiver as your go-to wide receiver 1. Like, I mean, Keenan Allen's like one of the few that like you can point out that is the wide receiver 1 that predominantly plays in the slot. So, because a lot of teams do have good slot guys, but they also have another guy like look at Puka and Cooper Kupp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I lean Nico, but like you said, it is more of a 1A, 1B situation. But also, what will Tank Dell be like next year? You know what I mean? Coming back from injury, and I still wouldn't rule them out of getting another big wide receiver there. Like they have the cap space, and they have the draft capital. So,
and that's what you can do when you have a franchise quarterback that's an absolute stud on a rookie deal. The best thing in all of sports, that right there.
All right, next up we got Walmart.
What up, Walmart?
What's good?
What playoff coaches and quarterbacks from this year should be worried? Who are the top 3 coordinator candidates this year for a head coaching job?
I mean, I would say Ben Johnson's obviously one to look out for as a coordinator. I mean, Detroit has the best offense. Clearly, the reason this team's had so much success is because of their offense, not their defense. Even though their defense is starting to step it up, he's a guy for me. Obviously, guys that have to be worried are Sirianni, McCarthy. I'd say those are probably the only 2 at the quarterback position. I really don't think, like in the playoffs, like I don't think any of those quarterbacks really need to worry about losing their job. I mean, you would think the Bucs would do the right thing and give Baker Mayfield a contract.
Oh, he's getting his contract, man. I feel like they love him.
Yeah, you would think.
They love him.
And I would say at this point, if they don't do the right thing, he's still getting a contract with someone. And that, like, I would not be shocked. So,
yeah, I think they're definitely going to re-sign Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Now, coordinators that could potentially get jobs. I forget the name of the OC for Houston.
You do.
I was thinking that one too.
What's his name?
What? You don't know the Texans
OC? The Texans
OC. Oh.
Just the fact, like, what they've done offensively and how he's worked.
Bobby Slowick, you're talking
Yes,
about?
and how he's worked with CJ Stroud. I know it was his first year as an OC, correct?
Yeah.
But how he's worked with CJ Stroud. Like, if they win another game, right? If they go into Baltimore and beat Baltimore and Stroud goes off, like what he did with a rookie quarterback, how does he not get consideration?
Well, Walmart, I mean, I think your Washington Commanders should do the right thing and finally bring back one of these, the graphic we always love to see, because Slowick was another one of those coaches on the staff at the time. So
just an absurd coaching tree that came from
I think it's time for Washington to make things right and get one of those coordinators back that they let go. Or I don't know, he wasn't even a coordinator. He was like
position coach.
Yeah,
man.
no, I don't even
not
think
even
he
a position
that.
coach.
He was like really he was like because he's a young guy. He was like really low on the totem pole. So that was like one of the first spots he started because I don't even think he's 40 years old yet, Bobby Slowick. He's a young guy. Other guys to consider. I mean, I know the Jets DC, Jeff Ulbrich is a guy to consider for some jobs. PFF rated our defense as number 1 in the league, so he's definitely a guy to be getting looked at. Regardless of the Cowboys getting exposed. I still think Dan Quinn's the guy to look at.
Raheem Morris,
DC
for the Niners.
And it's funny because they were saying Atlanta might look at him, and it's just like, well, you did have him as your intern head coach just a couple years ago. So if I were him, I'd be like, fuck you. But,
fuck you. I'm not going to Atlanta.
Yeah,
fuck you.
I mean, honestly. And then I believe, why am I blanking? Not Vance Joseph. Bruce, no.
Mike Flores?
No. He was the Cardinals head coach for 1 year with Rose and then got fired.
Steve Wilkes.
Steve Wilkes, yes. When he became the intern head coach of the Panthers, he was another guy that got fired, didn't get re-signed, and then now they're interviewing him as well for their position. So it's kind of funny that these guys are going back, and it's like, I wonder if Fasaccio, that'll happen with, maybe he'll get an interview with the Raiders, and if they don't sign Antonio Pierce, which I think at this point they're probably not going to, if they haven't already.
I think Antonio Pierce is definitely still the front runner because
you would hope.
If Max Crosby's coming out and saying I'm going to request a trade if you don't hire him, that's a pretty strong vote of confidence for Antonio Pierce.
Next we got Lino.
What up, Lino?
Yo.
Who's to blame for the Cowboys' blunder in the first round? Is it the DC with his terrible game plan? Is it Fat Mike and his lack of creativity? Or is it Dak and his tunnel vision when the lights get too bright?
Lino is a Cowboys fan.
I would say Dak is the biggest one to blame because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you look at the scoreboard and you see 48 points. That's not all in the defense's head. It doesn't help when Dak throws a pick six and also throws another pick that gets him already in the red zone. So I'd say Dak is a big thing because if you just look at the stats, you would have thought, damn, Dak had a hell of a game. He did not. It was all garbage time. So I would say for me, Dak's the biggest one to blame. I really don't think the defense played a terrible job. It's just hard when you're constantly on the field because your offense is just making bad decisions. You're in rough spots. So I think that game was lost from Dak, and I think the defense not being able to adjust, you can point a little bit to them, but I think if Dak plays a little bit better early on, this game goes a completely different way. So Dak for me, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with your Dak points. I will say Mike McCarthy now, I mean, you can go 12-5 3 years in a row. It's not good enough for Jerry Jones when you just put up blunders in the postseason over and over again. The game plan was clearly flawed, particularly on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah.
So Dan Quinn definitely deserves blame. They all deserve blame, let's be honest. But at the end of the day, they looked like they didn't want to be there. When they got punched in the mouth, it looked like that was it. They had no fight in them, and that falls on the head coach.
Yeah.
He didn't have them prepared. So I think McCarthy deserves a blunt of the blame.
Who do you predict to be the steal of the draft for Dynasty Leagues next season?
Oh, he wants me to spew out my guys I'm keeping in my back pocket so he can take them right in front of me.
Oh, who will be a steal? I mean, it's so hard to say right now because we don't know where everyone's going. So, like, for me, I always like to look at wide receivers and running backs who are in situations that can potentially take over. That's why I got Puka in my Dynasty League right after the draft.
I have a running back in mind, but I really want him, and I don't want you to take him, so I don't want to say it.
Well, you know what? You got to say it because it's at the end of the day, it would be good for the fans.
All right, Will Shipley from Clemson. He's probably the best receiving back in the draft. He was a 5-star recruit, so he's got the pedigree. That Clemson offense, after Trevor Lawrence left with Ugalele and then whoever the hell they had after him, never really clicked. However, Shipley has the receiving upside that can be valuable in PPR if he gets in the right situation. So I like Will Shipley out of Clemson.
I honestly, and I don't really have a sleeper right now until we really see where everyone goes.
Yeah, because
situation's so key to these dynasty drafts, to be honest.
Yeah,
and like where they're going, because we saw guys get like pushed up the boards big time. Like A-Chain was a guy that got pushed up so much because we didn't know like what the Miami backfield situation was going to be like. We're like, there's a guy that could take over day one. He didn't because he had some injury issues, and obviously I don't think we expected Mostert to be that good. So it's tough to say right now, but definitely a question we want to revisit after the NFL draft.
And finally from him, score prediction for Stroud versus Lamar.
It's a big spread. I think it's like 9.
Yeah,
and that's tough because
I think the Ravens roll here.
I think the Ravens win for sure. It's a different beast that Baltimore defense on the road as opposed to playing Cleveland at home.
Yeah, no, I think the Ravens destroy them here. I think it's 30-10 Ravens.
I really want Houston. I really want to pick Houston to cover, but
I can't see
the
it
Ravens
happening.
are just like
They're too good.
They blew out like really good teams, teams that are still in the dance. The Niners and the Lions in particular.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough. I still don't know if I'm gonna have the Texans cover, but I'll go with 27-13 right now. Baltimore.
So you do not have them covering currently.
As of right now, but I might change tomorrow when we do the prediction pod.
All right.
And last we got Matthew McCauley.
Matt, what's up, big dog? Damn, my boys came in rolling today.
They did.
Who's in more trouble, Cowboys or Eagles this offseason?
Oh, great question, Matt. I love hearing them boys are in trouble. I have a big Cowboys spiel that I'm going on in a couple minutes that just details how much in trouble they are. They're in trouble for different reasons. Dallas is in trouble financially with looming contract extensions.
Yeah.
And they're already over the cap. While I say the Eagles are more in trouble given the age of their roster. We just saw Kelsey retired, and we mentioned earlier a couple other of their centerpieces might also retire. But I feel like the Eagles have more depth, particularly in the line of scrimmage. So,
and I also feel like the Eagles have had a history of drafting good linemen where I've the confidence that they'll fill in those holes.
I don't know, man, but Dallas took Tyler Smith, and a lot of people bashed him for that a couple years ago, and he was an All-Pro this year.
I don't know, for me, I'm more worried about Philly though. I will say that just because their defense
is
so bad.
Yeah, the Eagles' defense is definitely worse than Dallas, and on paper they shouldn't be that bad.
And to me, like after watching that Dallas game, I almost feel like that was more of a fluke to me. Like I still have full confidence in their offense and defense, where in the Philly sense, like. I have no confidence in this defense right now. Like, I definitely would be more worried about the Eagles than
That's a good point, because you take in consideration Bradbury, who was awful yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The
whole defense was terrible.
He's up there in age.
Was
Slay's
there
up there in age.
defense that actually you watched and were like, damn, they had a good game?
No. Eagles linebackers are some of the worst in the league. They have to revamp their entire secondary, but they've invested so much in line of scrimmage that they're okay there on both sides of the ball. So I do like your point that they're going to have to overhaul that defense, man.
And that's why I think they're in bigger trouble. And I think that they're losing some pieces on the offense. I just think Philly's in a lot more trouble right now.
Is that it, Joe?
He asked, is Baker really him?
Yeah, that's our boy Baker. Matt also met Baker in Nashville, and Baker is one of Matt's dynasty quarterbacks that he got for a bargain, and now Baker's balling out. You know, Baker came into the league, and a lot of people were calling him cocky and this and that. Never worked out in Cleveland, but he's also had 8 different head coaches in his 6-year span in the league, which is the most all time. It's very difficult to think of a quarterback that would succeed in that situation, Reagan.
I do think I wouldn't consider him. I don't want to knock Baker because he did have a good game, but I honestly will say that's more on that defense. Like watching that game last night, Baker really. He didn't do anything like special.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Can I finish? To me, it's not that he didn't do anything special. It's more so like he was just doing what he had to do. Like he was hitting the open guys, making the plays. Like a lot of his receivers were just getting open, and they were making plays. Like he was.
They dropped the ball several times.
I know.
Evans dropped 2 deep balls, and Otten dropped 3.
Can I finish? And there could have been even more that happened. But that's my point. Everyone was getting so damn open. So I will chalk it up to more of the Eagles' defense being bad. But at the end of the day, Baker did what he needed to do. Like, he's doing what they brought him in to do, and he's by far exceeding expectations. Is he him? I don't know. We'll see. This is a big test next week. But I'm definitely very happy and impressed with what he did last night. Because he did exactly what he had to do. He got the job done. He gave it to his receivers. They made some plays. Like, they were breaking tackles. And that might have to do because a lot to do with the Eagles just needing to go back to tackling school because I guess fundamental tackling is not taught there in the old what's his name again? Dude, I'm getting bad with names tonight. Who's their DC right now? The Lions' old coach, the Patriots.
Patricia,
yeah. It's blanking out on his name. And I mean, damn, dude, Patricia, fucking, I don't know what he's teaching there, but it ain't working.
I can't imagine anyone's Patricia on their staff anymore.
No.
Baker threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns, no turnovers.
Yeah, he had a great game.
And considering that Evans dropped 2 deep balls and Otten dropped 3 more, he could have thrown for 400 yards.
Yeah.
But it's a very, Eagles defense beginning
I'm
beat
not even
all
knocking
year.
Baker. Like, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, but for me, last night's game is more on the Eagles defense than it is on the Bucs offense. Like, I don't expect this to be an every week thing because I do watching this Eagles defense the past couple weeks, like it might be the worst defense in the league.
I mean, Carolina held Tampa Bay to 9 points.
That's what I'm
18.
saying. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand what could have possibly changed it, but playing a better defense. Like, I obviously Baker stepped up big, and I don't want to knock him. Like, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. I just think bad defense is a big factor, and I think it's going to be a lot different this week against Detroit. But I do still like the matchup. I do.
Yeah, you don't like that Detroit defense.
No, I don't, but they're definitely...
So if he lights up Detroit's defense that you said is trash, are you going to say that?
He's like, he did what he was supposed to do.
I will, like, at the end of the day, but Detroit's defense is better than Philly. Like, they have been playing better. I was knocking them a lot, but they've been stepping it up the past couple weeks. Like, against the Rams, like, they held them to 23, which is good for that defense. Like, from what we saw, like, during that span when they were allowing 30-plus every single game, like, Detroit has definitely stepped it up. They stepped it up against Dallas, too. So...
Or Dunes or Keon Coleman?
For Dynasty or fan, like, what, in what sense? Or just
just straight up?
He's definitely asking fantasy-wise for Dynasty. O'Dunes is regarded as a cleaner prospect. He's ranked higher by, I think, every draft pundit. He's a better all-around receiver where Keon has the physical traits where he's 6'4", more like he's very athletic, but O'Dunes is more polished in his route running and catch point and everything in that regard. So I would give the nod to O'Dunes. And I also think O'Dunes is going to be a top 10 pick where Keon might go in the middle of the first round. Then again, it also could depend on where they end up. Because if Keon slides and Keon somehow ends up in like Kansas City, for instance, or something like that, then maybe he gets a bump.
It's 100% situation for me.
I would say O'Dunes is a better prospect.
When it's that close, I don't even necessarily care who's the better prospect, because at that point, they're both clearly good prospects. That's why they're going. They both have first-round grades. So it all comes down to situation for me and where I view them. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to take the guy who has the better quarterback. And then if it does come to, all right, both situations are great, then I would go O'Dunes. But I don't think it's going to be like, hey, he went to the Bills, he went to the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to end up like that.
All right, and in the last, we got loser of punishment has to jump in the Hudson when Big Tong moves to Hoboken.
Can't wait to push Big Tong into the
Jump
Hudson.
in the Hudson. Reagan's already swam across the Califon River. Why not swim across the Hudson?
How big is that
right?
jump?
Oh, it's a jump.
Yeah, like,
and it's very long. It's much longer than the Califon, my friend. So when I beat you and you had another punishment...
What do you mean? No, I'm saying like the jump. Like how far down is it?
For the Hudson?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you?
I didn't know.
You're asking like you knew the answer to that
question.
question.
How deep the Hudson is?
No, like is it like a 20-foot jump or?
Well, it's not like on the side of a cliff.
Oh, I thought this was like a cliff. Oh, I thought he was talking about like jump into like
the Hudson River.
Hudson
no, I thought.
Do you know the Hudson River?
Yeah, but I thought the way he said it has to jump in, so I thought there was like a spot where you could like jump off a cliff into it.
Well,
what?
It might be more like.
What do you mean? Well, why would he say
crazy thing to
like
assume.
a cold
Because
plunge.
he said jump.
Could be like a cold plunge.
He said jump into the river. He didn't say swim across the Hudson. He said jump in.
Jump in a river, like.
When I hear jump, I think like jump off a cliff. If he said
is there
swim,
like stairs for him
who jumps across? I'm not gonna jump across the Hudson.
Reagan, if I jumped off a bridge, would you?
What? Hell yeah! I'm like, well, if he's jumping, I'm jumping, because otherwise I don't have anyone to do the podcast with. All right. I mean, yeah, I'd swim across it. When he said jump,
you can't swim across the Hudson.
Like you like jump.
It's like it'd be like a cold plunge.
Like,
cold plunge.
Okay.
Would have to be the punishment in the Hudson.
Okay. I don't know.
Is that
I don't
legal?
know.
Is that? I don't even know.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
That's the one that the Tappan Zee goes over now.
The what?
The Hudson River, right? Doesn't the Tappan Zee Bridge go over it? That's the Hudson River.
You're asking the wrong guys. None of us work with.
So why are you guys giving me shit then? You guys are giving me shit like
I don't know every bridge that can.
But that's what I'm saying. Y'all are.
There's a lot of bridges.
You guys are giving me shit like you know what it's about. That's why when I heard jump, I didn't know if there was like a spot where you could jump off like a cliff and do like a cliff dive thing.
No, well.
So none of us know. I guess you're gonna have to give Colin more context to know
I'll tell you
exactly what you're saying.
There's no cliff by the Hudson.
Yeah.
Where is the Hudson?
New York.
Yeah, but where in New York?
All right, dude. We're not geography guys
Wait,
here.
you're saying you don't know there's a cliff, but you don't even know where it is. So, okay,
I just said New York City.
Where in New York City?
What do you mean? It's a river. Like what?
It's a
like.
Oh yeah, it's right in Midtown.
But like what? Like where in New York? Like is it by like Brooklyn? Is it by Long Island? Like
Manhattan.
It's by Manhattan. That's what I'm asking. You guys are like, well, I don't know, but then you guys are saying you do. You either do or don't know. I don't know where it is. I don't know what any part of it is, and you guys are like saying you know, but then you're also like we don't know. So Matt, give Colin all the details you're talking about so we can clear up this potential.
That was
punishment.
like not what he was really asking.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. We got a little too deep.
Well, he wasn't asking anything. He was suggesting, and
all right,
I will say
police.
just text Colin and we'll figure out the details.
We'll hash it out. We'll hash it out
because clearly you just sparked a debate that I don't think any of us know what the hell is going on.
This is a football podcast, not a river podcast. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to break down these games when we get back.
Here at Around the Felt,
we only drink the best.
Welcome back in, everybody. We're going to get into the recap of the 6 games, starting with my Cleveland Browns.
I've been waiting for this, guys, and it got only better when the Eagles lost, too.
At least let me start off on the good note. The wheel hit, so you know, it eased the pain. If there's any game that would have been okay with it, at least it eased the pain a little bit, but not really.
What happened to your Cleveland Browns, Reagan?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I stopped watching after a while because it just got so bad, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in New York City. I'm going to go get drunk. I don't need to watch this. But Joe Flacco, unfortunately, throwing 2 pick sixes is really what happened.
That was the dagger, for sure.
Obviously, Nico Collins having a big game doesn't help. And, never really establishing the run game at all. I mean, Njoku had a good game for the Browns.
Yeah, and this one,
that was Joe's leg.
8 for 26 and a touchdown, the first touchdown for the wheel. Jerome Ford, 9 of 17. Could not establish the run against Houston's defense. Joe did cash his leg with Njoku, 7 for 93.
Oh, yeah.
Amari Cooper, only 4 for 59 in this one. It seems like they figured out, all right, we're not going to let that guy beat us again like he did in Week 16. I believe Derek Stingley was phenomenal in this one. He had 3 targets, let up 1 catch for, I think, -2 yards. So Stingley was locked down.
And the thing that sucks for Stingley is I feel like he gets overshadowed a lot because
they took him over Sauce.
They took him over Sauce, who's now not once but twice a first-team All-Pro. And the craziest thing with that is 0 interceptions this year, becoming only the 3rd corner ever to be an All-Pro with 0 interceptions.
That's an interesting stat there.
Yeah, I saw that because they were posting a lot on Jets Twitter because Revis also did that once.
Wow.
Which I guess... But I do feel bad for Stingley because I feel like he would be getting a lot more attention if it wasn't for Sauce.
Yeah, in this one, C.J. Stroud, 16 of 21 for 274 and 3 touchdowns. Nearly flawless with a 157.2 passer rating. 158.3 is the highest you can get. So nearly flawless. Nico Collins, 6 for 96 and a touchdown. Braven Jordan had a 76-yard touchdown.
Yeah, you never want to let a tight end go, especially a back yards. Out. Yeah, and Schultz had 1 for 37 too.
Flacco is now 6-1 against the spread in playoff openers in his career.
Yeah,
I
should have known when they were due.
Not to toot my own horn here, but
okay, so don't.
I highlighted in the prediction pod last week. If you were listening, you would have taken Houston with me, considering Cleveland has the 31st ranked defense on the road, and they allowed 29.4 points per game on the road. When you take out the 14 points for the pick 6, what's 45 minus 14, Reagan?
Don't care. Browns
31,
lost.
right around the 29.4 they let up.
Not to toot my own horn here, but I did have the Browns as my Super Bowl team.
I thought the Young Bucks would get it done, and they do. C.J. Stroud is legit. Love to see it, man. Reagan, right. Sorry that your bracket is busted already.
When are you going to ask me about my second bracket? Who's my new Super Bowl team?
You can let us know tomorrow.
I will let you know tomorrow. And what 2 teams will I be cursing tomorrow? Maybe I'll just say... I got the 49ers beating the Bills to make sure your bracket.
Dude, because I've been ice cold. Chiefs beat the Dolphins 26-7 at Arrowhead. Reagan, we saw this one coming. We both said Dolphins can't swim in the cold.
This one really didn't shock me. I knew it was going to be more of a defensive battle. Honestly, I'm shocked Kansas City put up that many points, but I guess they're used to the cold weather. But I honestly thought it would be even more low scoring than it was.
Harrison Butker, 4 for 4 on field goals.
Yeah, I mean, Pacheco dominated in this game. Good shit, Drock.
24, 89 and a touchdown. That a boy, Drock. Good pick.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes threw for 262 and a touchdown. Rashi Rice, 8 for 130 and a touchdown. Travis Kelce, 7 for 71.
And Rice did have the record for most receiving yards in a rookie wide receiver's first game, which was then broken the next night by Puka, but still. Great game for Rice.
Just at least he had it for
a full
24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours, 130. Hell of a game for the next guy to come in and go for 170, but still, hell of a game from Rice, and his future looks bright. And then on the Miami side, not a whole lot to talk about, huh?
No, I posed this question in the prediction pod, Reagan.
Yeah.
Tua threw for 193 and a touchdown against Dallas in Week 16. That was their only signature win on the season. Will he do better in this cold temperature?
No.
Well, he threw for 199, a touchdown, and a pick. Virtually identical to what he did in their only signature win. Tyreek Hill had that touchdown catch, but he only had 5 for 62. It just seems like the Chiefs know how to slow him down.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of drops. He had a couple bad drops in this game as well.
Yeah, and it seemed like Jalen Waddle, 2 for 31. You could tell he was not at full strength on the ground. Mostert,
some would say he was waddling.
8 for 33 for Mostert, 6 for 9 for Achane. That Chiefs defense, man.
Yeah, 6 for 9 for Achane for a guy that was averaging like 9 yards a carry in the regular season to only go for his average is kind of crazy.
Crazy. Chiefs ranked second in yards allowed, and only the Niners let up less touchdowns in the regular season. I highlighted that as well, and what happened? They shut down this Miami high-powered offense in the cold and only let up 1 touchdown. Reagan?
So I guess take Colin's stats and you will make money.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do. Packers, Cowboys. Wow. 48-32. The Packers whooped the shit out of the Cowboys. It wasn't even that close. Cowboys scored 16 in the fourth quarter to make it look a little better.
Yeah. No, this was the biggest blowout in my opinion on the week. Because obviously the Browns and Texans was a bigger blowout than the Bucks and the Eagles. But, I mean, let's be honest. This game...
Just based on pure ass beating.
Yeah, because the score doesn't reflect the blowout in this game. Like, if you just looked at the box score, you'd be like, oh, it's not as bad as people are making it seem. No, it was that bad. Like, the Cowboys started to score, and the Packers actually ran a whole drive with their backups, punted, Cowboys scored, and they're like, all right, we got to get the starters back in. But no, the Packers did have their backups, and, like, we got to see Sean Clifford out of Penn State in there for a drive, and then, so when you're putting them in early in the fourth quarter, it's an ass beating.
Yeah, in this one, Jordan Love, 16 of 21 for 272 and 3 touchdowns. The passer rating is 157.2. Almost identical to C.J. Stroud's, Reagan. So I'm going to ask you, who were you more impressed with, Jordan Love or C.J. Stroud?
I would say Jordan Love, just because he went into Dallas and beat a team that hadn't been beaten at home all year. And I would say that Stroud, I slightly lean the Texans on offense, like in terms of weapons he has. Like, I think Stroud has more of a talented core. I mean, obviously, Aaron Jones is legit, and we saw that. Like, that's a guy Love hasn't had all season. But I just think with not a lot of veterans presence on that team, I'm a little more impressed with Love.
I have to agree with you there. Aaron Jones, 21 for 118 and 3 touchdowns in that Dallas defense. It seemed like they were going light boxes.
Now in 4 games against Dallas, he's averaging like 120 yards a carry, and he's up to 12 touchdowns.
That's insane.
Or some shit like that. So he's like, every time he plays Dallas, he's going for over 100 rushing yards and at least 2 touchdowns. I mean, the guy's a machine. I mean, he went to UTSA. He's from the San Antonio area, so for him, he comes back. It's one of those things where, players like to come back and play up in their hometown, but he really does step it up when he's at home.
He does. And Romeo Doubs, 6 for 151 and a touchdown. Musgrave scored. Wicks scored. Very impressed with the Packers. Now, I want to go on a little bit of a rant here regarding the Dallas Cowboys. I want to make sure I'm looking right in the camera when I say this.
Yeah, let's hear it.
They're in trouble. They have a lot of key impending free agents. Tyron Smith, Tony Pollard, Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis, Tyler Biadasz, all impending free agents. They're currently $16 million over the cap in 2024. How do they create more cap space? Dak Prescott has a $59.5 million cap hit for 2024. Did you know that?
Are you suggesting cutting him?
No.
No.
Their only path to continue to build a contender around Dak is to extend him, to lower that cap hit in 2024. Okay, so you extend Dak. You already paid Trayvon. You got to pay Micah Parsons. You got to pay CeeDee Lamb, both of which are probably going to go for the highest contract for their respective positions in NFL history. What the hell are they going to do? They also can't tag Dak Prescott in 2025 because there's a clause in his contract. Where do they go, man? Where do they go? Because now you have all this money going to Dak, CD, Parsons, Trayvon Diggs. All studs.
Tony Pollard is definitely gone, so that's another guy going back to the dynasty sleepers. Whoever the Cowboys draft in this draft, because I know they're going to draft a running back, that is who my sleeper is going to be.
That's a good point.
But although Rico Dowdle, definitely a guy you want to look up to pick in dynasty.
And also an impending free agent.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh,
his contract just expired.
Still, I think he's a guy they can get back on a very cheap deal. He is not going to be commanding top dollar, where Tony Pollard will probably want more than he's worth.
Probably.
And Deuce Vaughn ain't going to be the starting running back of this team. So
they're in trouble, man, because you gotta extend Dak, but at the same time, Dak's a good regular season quarterback. All he does is choke in the playoffs. You're going to pay a guy that's good but not good enough to get it done? That doesn't fly in Jerry's world.
Blake Corum is going to be sick on the Cowboys. Holy shit, dude. He's going to go to the Dallas and be sick.
Blake Corum to the Cowboys. I can see that. That's a good call out of you.
He's going. No, it's not even a call. It's like what happened. I already saw the script. I got next year's script, so it's Browns-Eagles next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Reagan, let's transition. The Lions barely squeaked by the Rams, 24-23. We were both on the Rams in this one, money line, but we did have them both spread, so they did cover for us. Yeah. Man, both quarterbacks played well. Jared Goff, 277 and a touchdown. Montgomery, 1457, touchdown on the ground. Gibbs also scored. Amon-Ra, 7 for 110, cashing my leg of the parlay. For the Rams, Stafford threw for 367, 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 13 for 61. Puka Nacua, 9 for 181 and a touchdown.
Dude, he just can't get tackled.
I wish that was Cooper Kupp's stat line.
Yeah, right. I mean, freaking Puka, man. He just always breaks tackles. And on the Detroit side, like going back to Gibbs, man, he is one of the scariest running backs to watch. Like it seems like he breaks every single tackle. Like
they bounce right off him.
Every time he gets the ball, like I know Bijan's good, but to me, Gibbs looks like the better back. And a lot of it could be he's on a better offense. He gets more, about the same amount of volume. But man, watching Gibbs run the ball, he is scary. Like I feel like every time he touches it, he's going to break it away for a big touchdown.
It almost reminds me a little bit of Alvin Kamara, where he's not the biggest back, but
it's just
so hard to get him down.
When Kamara, it just seemed like his first couple of years, you could not bring him down. But damn, that pick seems to be a home run pick, and all those people questioning it, it's hard to question it now.
Yeah, when you take a running back at number 12 overall, you better get it right.
And they did.
Reagan, do you think the Lions are going to continue to roll, man? They just squeaked by the Rams. They have another home game next week. I don't know. Were you impressed? The defense, although Stafford had a lot of yards, they did limit Kyron, considering what Kyron's done this season. Only 61 yards. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a tough one because I do think Detroit is frauds, but, like, they're also playing Tampa Bay at the end of the day, and Tampa Bay, to me, is not a great football team. Like, they did just beat the Eagles, but at the end of the day, like, I do think Detroit's better, but I might have to just go with the Bucs and stay on my train of fuck Detroit.
Also, Aiden Hutchinson was phenomenal in this game as well. He was wreaking havoc.
Mm-hmm.
How many sacks did he end up with? I think he had 2.
I don't know, but
yeah, he had 2 sacks. I think his pass rush win rate was like 39%, which is stupid.
I mean, hey, that's why they took him early in that draft. I mean, we were all shocked when he didn't go number 1. We thought the whole time he was going 1, but
he
got to stay home in Michigan, and he has been a stud ever since.
They got 2 pillars in the trenches. Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, both picked in the top 5 of the draft. No, Sewell was picked 6th overall. Sorry.
Yeah,
both picked top 6 in the draft.
You know, he's like he was the highest ranked offensive lineman on PFF.
That's why he's a first-team All-Pro.
Yeah,
built to the trenches, ladies and
sir.
gentlemen. Next, the Bills survived the Steelers 31-17. Now, this game almost got out of hand early on, Reagan. It was 21-0. Looked like the blowout was on, and then Pittsburgh started to fight back a little bit.
Got the momentum after that field goal block, big Deontay Johnson touchdown. Now, also, like, well, we could talk a little bit more about recapping, but I have a question with the Steelers and what they do at quarterback.
Yeah.
It is interesting because it's not going to be Rudolph. Like, I don't think he's the answer either, but it's also like, do they draft someone, or do they go in with, like, a carousel next year? Like, are they a team that goes out, like, you know, like some of those guys that still might have something in the tank? Like, what are they doing at quarterback next year?
That's a good question, Reagan. Obviously, it's not Rudolph. The fact that they stuck with Rudolph, who was the hot hand, they won games at the end of the season with him.
He was not only the hot hand, but he had the hot hand, but he also looked the best, too.
Yeah, I mean,
we barely.
You know me. I'm no believer in Kenny Pickett.
No, I was coming into the year.
Problem is, with Pittsburgh, they don't have losing records. So they're consistently picking in like the 17 to 22 range.
Yeah, I think they're going to be at pick 20. No, they'll be at pick 19.
Yeah, and they took Kenny Pickett in that range already.
Yep.
I believe it was 18th overall. Didn't pan out.
No.
Do you take another quarterback in that range? Or I think more likely they try to target a vet. We don't know who's going to become available.
They trade up and get Michael Penix. Or maybe they don't need to.
Or maybe they get Justin Fields.
I don't know.
You don't like that fit?
No, I don't. I don't like that fit. I just can't, like, I can't see, like, I don't know. And it might be more so that I just don't want the Bears to trade. Or I don't want the Bears to trade Fields, but I just couldn't see him on the Steelers.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
They're stuck in quarterback
It
hell.
definitely is interesting. So it really comes down to, do you want to develop, or do you want to take the shot on Fields? Because I'm still not sold on Fields, but I'm sold enough in where the Bears are at, where I feel like the Steelers are trending in the opposite direction.
I'm not sold on Fields either, but he certainly has a higher ceiling than anything they have in-house.
I agree. Yeah.
So if you feel like Fields at this point is a better option than a Penix, than a Nix, than a McCarthy, then you make that move.
To me, Penix is the only guy out of those three I would actually consider. The other two, I don't know if they're going to be better than Pickett.
Yeah, I don't know either. But they're certainly not going to get one of the top three quarterbacks. So then it's like...
No, I mean, you got to gave up a ton of capital.
You got to get lucky.
Which would be very shocking.
It's tough. In this one, Josh Allen, 21 of 30 for 203, 3 touchdowns, added 8 for 74 in that long touchdown run on the ground of 52 yards, which was the second longest touchdown run in playoff history by a quarterback.
Wow.
Do you know who had the longest?
John Elway?
Colin Kaepernick.
No. It was Kaepernick.
Wow.
It was Kaepernick, yep.
Wow.
Back in 2011. I don't know which game it was, but it was back in 2011.
Come on now.
I think it was a NFC Championship game.
Yeah, come on. You can't be asking the questions and not having. You should be like, it
might have been
freaking
against the
NFC
Giants.
Championship.
Then it would have had to have been earlier.
Or was it the Soupy?
No, it wasn't in the Super Bowl.
No.
So when was it?
in
Like
San Francisco, I remember.
I don't know. I just know who the player was. I don't have everything you're asking from me.
Okay, sorry.
For the Steelers, Rudolph threw for 229, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Running game never got going with Warren or Najee, 38-37 apiece, respectively. Freiermuth, 5 for 76. Pickens, 5 for 50. Deontay had that touchdown. So did Calvin Austin. But at the end of the day, I thought the Steelers would cover, but I also thought they were going to be playing with the snow, which would kind of help them on the ground. But this Buffalo offense
was
too much.
You can't hold that against us.
It's versus the Packers.
You can hold it against us, but
no, you can't.
They almost got the back door. But at the end of the day, we knew Buffalo would prevail because they have too much firepower. But
we also thought it was going to be in the snow, so I don't want people holding it against us.
Yeah, good point, Reagan.
Game got changed. We told you about the game on Sunday, not the game on Monday.
Last but not least, the Bucs, 32-9 over the Eagles. The Eagles lost to Arizona by 3 in Week 17, got their ass kicked by the Giants, then got their ass kicked by the Bucs. The wheels just fell off the bus for Philadelphia. Hurts threw for 250 and a touchdown, but honestly, he didn't look that good. Swift, 10 for 34. Smith had 8 for 148, man. He looked good without A.J. Brown.
Yes,
he had that deep
like
ball.
The one bright spot on the offense in this game was Smith.
That Devontae Smith had that 55-yard catch to set him up. Very good. Other than him, I mean, Julio Jones, 3 for 22, left with concussion. Goddard, 4 for 21. Disappointing performance out of him.
Did have the touchdown. Drock, it should have been in the touchdown.
Did have a touchdown. Swift had 4 for 32 through the air. For the Bucs, man, it was guys you wouldn't really have expected.
David Moore? What do you mean?
David Moore, 2 for 66 and a touchdown. Trey Palmer had a 56-yard touchdown. Cade Otton had 8 for 89 on 11 targets. He had 3 drops. He could have had a monster game. And then it was Evans with 3 for 48, Godwin 4 for 45 and a touchdown.
You could beat Philly everywhere, but that's the spot you really could beat them because their linebackers are trash.
Trash. Absolutely trash. Rashad White had 18 for 72. He ran the ball well. And my boy Baker threw for 337 and 3 touchdowns. What a performance by Tampa Bay. I was all over Tampa Bay.
And you want to even know what a better performance is? Around the felt parlay, baby. 0-4. If you faded the felt, you cashed.
Mike Evans needs to go hit the jug machine because he would have freaking easily cashed on that long ball. He's dropped so many.
Yeah. I mean, Evans drops, Najee getting stuffed at the one like he always does.
That was the first time the felt has gone 0-4, so if you faded the felt, you were happy.
You took all the others.
I was like, damn. And even Drock's lock didn't hit, so.
Yeah,
but we hit Knox and Hunt, so still a very profitable weekend if you tailed the felt. You don't want to fade the felt. I
gotta say, it felt really good watching Dallas and Philly just get their asses kicked. Like, not even close games, just like, you know.
Yeah, I felt that with Miami. I can't wait for Buffalo to lose. But yeah, I mean, that wraps up this pod. Guys, we got sweatshirts that are going to be up for sale for a couple more days, so make sure if you want one to either order it on the website or contact one of us because we are placing those orders Friday. I'm going to have a day in the life punishment coming out very soon.
That'll be fun.
My life is quite interesting, I guess you could say.
It's very interesting.
It's going to be an interesting video at the very least.
I'm excited to see that.
We're going to be getting that
one,
lacrosse one done soon. And obviously, if you guys have more punishments, keep suggesting them. And those off-season ones will be coming out soon.
Thanks, guys.